Back here on SportsCenter, we've got some breaking news. Shams Charania reporting on a blockbuster. What do you got?
Sources tell me the Boston Celtics have traded All-NBA star 2024 Finals MVP Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George, 2 first-round picks, and 2 second-round picks. So think about it if you're Philadelphia. To get Jaylen Brown in the prime of his career at 30 years old for a player in Paul George who has been looked at different points as a negative contract, you are sending out 2 future first-round picks. You're sending out a couple second-round assets. But now you have Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, and the way Jaylen Brown has been playing, you would think he has multiple years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years left in his prime. Pair that with a young Tyrese Maxey. Pair that with a young VJ Edgecombe. And for the Celtics, where this had come down to is they tried to trade for Giannis. They offered Jaylen Brown and 2 unprotected first-round picks for Giannis. They missed out. But ever since then, you know what's been interesting? They didn't just stop the conversations there. They continued to have trade talks. And by today, they were actively shopping, full-blown shopping Jaylen Brown around the league, trying to get teams' best offers in. My understanding is Jaylen Brown, throughout all of this, never requested a trade. He never asked out of Boston. This was all the Celtics. We'll learn more. This is obviously a very developing story. But Jaylen Brown is leaving the Boston Celtics. He will now be in Kevin Nagandi's with their 76ers.
Kevin, it seems like you're a little bit happy. You got a little bit of juice for your 76ers here.
I'm ecstatic that Mike Gansey, the new GM of the Sixers, this is his first really big move, to get a guy like this, an all-NBA player, and still have Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, for Joel Embiid. To me, more than anything else, it speaks volumes, too, because let's not forget, the Sixers ended Jaylen Brown's season, beating him 3 straight times, closing out down 3-1 in the series. And now those guys, Embiid, Maxey, understand what Jaylen Brown brings to the table.
Mike Gansey, the new president in Philadelphia, they have been engaged with Boston over the last week. But, you know, the Celtics at different points, they've wanted 4 first-round picks, 5 first-round picks. We want multiple of your best players. I'm sure at the outset of these conversations, they wanted a VJ Edgecombe. They wanted 4 or 5 first-round picks. But that price over the last week has diminished. And then you saw Mike Gansey and that Sixers front office come in today, swoop in. And listen, Paul George, he's not no ordinary player.
When healthy,
when healthy
and available.
He is still a above average, good, on some nights, great player. But Jaylen Brown, 2 years removed from Finals MVP. Just last season, he was a finalist for the league MVP. And so the Sixers hung around in this conversation. The Celtics talked to a few other organizations. But today, they locked in on this deal. They get back Paul George to bring in with Jason Tatum, so you'll see both of those guys on the wings. But they are moving on in another direction.
And Celtics also Mitchell Robinson earlier today as well. So they're adjusting their roster.
Let's bring in NBA analyst Quentin Richardson. It kind of feels like the entire Eastern Conference is really switching around here. What is your reaction to the breaking news?
Exciting. I mean, I'd like this trade for both teams. I mean, like you guys said, it was kind of obvious that after the Boston wasn't able to get Giannis and move Jaylen in that trade, it seemed like they definitely kicked in the gear and they decided that they were going to move on for him. And to be able to get 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds, and listen, I know everybody may look however about PG, but the one thing that we got to know, when he's healthy, he's still a big-time player. The time that he came back, he looked really good late in the season after the suspension, and he looked back healthy and strong. And I'm looking at him like he should have a full offseason to go get his body right and come back and be able to help this Celtics team. But, I mean, even before they got him and whether they had kept Brown or not, I love the moves getting Big Mitchell Robinson. I thought that was a huge get, and I love the veteran presence of Mike Conley coming there.
Q, on the other side, let's go to the Sixers angle here with Jaylen Brown now joining a team that has Tyrese Maxey, an NBA All-Star, VJ Edgecombe after that first season where he was fantastic, the rookie, and then Joel Embiid. How do you view this Sixers team now when we talk about the top part of the East and a Jaylen Brown with a huge chip on his shoulder now?
Oh, no, listen, Jaylen Brown is going to be yet again an MVP candidate right now next year. I think you're going to see him trying step his game up and take another step with this organization. And like you said, I love VJ Edgecombe. There's nothing not to love about this young kid. He's going to be a future star in this league, and he's not backing down from anybody. And obviously, we've seen Tyrese rise into be an all-NBA level player. The biggest question is going to remain, if Joel Embiid can be healthy, they can be one of the deadliest teams in the East. But that remains to be seen if he can really get out there and have his body right and be healthy. But if he's healthy, Philly is going to be a tough out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm curious. I feel like one of the biggest questions is whether or not that 76ers team is able to be healthy. Shams, when it comes to the Boston Celtics, you said that they didn't necessarily, or they were the ones that were shopping around Jaylen Brown. They didn't necessarily want to get rid of him. What do you think the latest is? Is Boston going to make any other moves moving forward?
Well, they brought in Mitchell Robinson today on a 3-year, $47.4 million deal. They signed Mike Conley Jr. as well. But they needed to figure out Jaylen Brown's future. This had been hovering around the organization ever since those Giannis Antetokounmpo trade talks. For whatever reason, we're going to find out more as time goes on, but Jaylen Brown had 3 years left on a Supermax deal. Paul George is also under contract for multiple years on a big money deal. Why would the Celtics, at the age of 30, move Jaylen Brown right now for a player who's several years older? Paul George is a great player, right? But I think around the league, my phone is being flooded with people texting me Paul George and picks. And so, again, that's not a knock on anything. But I think overall, the Celtics were in a tough spot because once it's so out there around the league that Jaylen Brown is available for trade, it became a situation where you saw his value, for whatever reason, start to diminish as the last week went on.
How would you look at the East right now? We're not forgetting about the Knicks.
Obviously.
For anybody watching, we understand that they are the world champs right now. So when you look at how the East is shaped up, with Giannis going to Miami, the unknown of LeBron potentially going to maybe Cleveland as one of the teams how do you view the East here after a deal like this between two major rivals, the Celtics and the Sixers?
I feel like the offseason is in full effect. Guys, teams are loading up. Teams are trying to get themselves in position. They're looking at what the New York Knicks were able to do this last year, and they want in on it. Everybody feels like that was a wide open race last year, and they feel like it may be the very well same way this upcoming season. And I don't see, I look at Philly, I look at Boston, I look at Miami, I look at Detroit, all of these teams that are retooling and getting ready. It's going to be up for grabs, and it's going to, obviously the regular season will give us a little foresight about what's going to happen, but I feel like it's going to be a wide open thing again in the East this year. It's going to be a lot of big teams and a lot of going back and forth, but I think it's anybody's ball game right now. And I think obviously LeBron is the one piece that's hovering out there. And if he goes to if he goes to Miami, he kind of tips the scale. But if he goes to Cleveland, he puts them right up in that upper echelon as being a serious contender as well.
Okay, so you mentioned that if LeBron goes to Cleveland or Miami, he obviously tips the scale. But who do you think so far in the Eastern Conference has made the biggest move?
I would say the biggest move has been Giannis, but I think I like the moves that the overall moves that Boston have made. I think they put themselves right back in position to be right at the top of the East and right in competition. But I think the singular biggest move obviously has been Giannis. That's Thanos right now in free agency.
All right, a lot going on in the Eastern Conference.
Stunning.
This is fun.
This is a stunning
You've been
trade.
working on this all afternoon.
The fact that I heard about this was a strong possibility earlier today, and a part of me was like, are the Celtics and Sixers as rivals in
That's the crazy
Eastern
part,
Conference,
especially what happened in the playoffs.
division, going to make a trade? But again, this is what comes with when you're in negotiations with a team. You just have to hover. You have to be around for the start and then the finish, because this negotiation with the Celtics had ebbs and flows. At first, they were trying to get Giannis. That was their goal. You have to go get a premium player. Then after that, it was, let's go get a package of a bunch of picks. When neither became possible, it was clear the Celtics, eventually the price was going to come down.
They had to move him, right?
And the price, no matter how you want to spin it, the price to an extent did come down.
This is why Shams avoided me for the last hour. I was wondering before the show.
Feeling great.
At this point, I just need to see the schedule release. I need to see when Boston plays Philly.
Listen,
they always start opening night.
They always start opening
all eyes
A little
on TV.
rematch, but it's weird because he's playing for the
Christmas Day on ABC, Jaylen Brown is going back to the Garden. We all know that's happening, right?